I've designed a lot of projects for FDM printing, so learning to design for resin has been a bit of an adjustment. When choosing a project, I wanted to think of something where I might struggle a little bit with FDM printing, so I was thinking tall, unsupported structures and really fine details. So in this test example from an FDM print, you can kind of see where as the Z height goes up, it starts to get a little messy in these thin structures, and that's something where I'm really hoping where I can get better results with a resin print. With that in mind, I got to work in Blender. I knew I wanted to use these tiny 2mm steel balls, so my first task was to create a small section of track at the slope that I was going to use and get that printed out just to make sure that the balls would roll as I expected. After that, I wanted to expand on it and cram as much track as I could into a small space while considering the build volume of the P1. Do you ever find yourself trying so hard to automate something that you spend so much more time doing that than if you would have just brute forced the design in the first place? Well, that was me on this project. I had this idea that I wanted to draw a single curve in Blender and extrude the track geometry along that, along with the support structures underneath. It's a pretty easy concept, but it gets a little funny whenever the track is sloping or curving and that geometry can get messed up. So I decided to take the opportunity to learn a bit about geometry nodes. I will admit I had to use Claude a little bit to work through some debugging on those, but I was able to get a process where I could draw curves pretty effectively with those support structures intact. To get a consistent slope through the runs, I made a little script that essentially just steps through each of the points in a curve and lowers each one of them by a set amount. After that point, it was just a matter of building these 4 interconnected runs. I really tried hard to make sure that they were going on top of each other, weaving in and out, had lots of curves and different shapes and going in different directions along the track so that when you dropped a lot of balls into those, you'd see a lot of movement all over. Look for my next video to see how I solved some final geometry issues and got this printed out.